Okay, so let's talk contouring and blush. So contouring is not as challenging as you may think. And you don't have to do all the contouring, hashtag all the contouring. Just use what's going to be effective for your face shape and your structure, your bone structure. So because I have a very narrow oblong face, I don't need to do a whole lot of contouring like all over, like in the diagrams. I would more concentrate on highlighting, but because if you'll notice, there's really there's no cheekbone like visible. My cheekbones are fairly flat in relation to the rest of my face, so I choose to use contouring to give me a little bit more of a look of a normal cheekbone structure, and I like to use Crowned All Over to do that. So I'm just going to tap out a teeny tiny bit into a cap. Oop, that's a lot. Don't need that much. Into the cap. And then I use the Young Living brush for blush. Okay, this is your blush brush. Say that 3 times real fast. And I just get a little bit on the brush. Always start with less. Less is more. Because you can always layer more on. And one thing, especially with the blush brush, this applies to all of the brushes in any application of mineral makeup. You want to get comfortable using like feather light strokes or touches to the skin where you're barely touching the skin, and then increase as the product gets distributed with that feather light touch, then increase the intensity of how strongly you're touching your skin. What I do is so I've dipped into the Crowned All Over, and then I'm tapping it into the lid. Okay, and now it's kind of spread all over the brush, and I'm going to start back here and go along the bottom edge of the bone, not the hollow. Please don't put contouring powder in the hollow of your face. If you're doing it for cheek accentuation, you're going to put it on the edge of the actual cheekbone down there at the bottom. That's where it goes. And so I start really light with a really light touch, because I don't want to blob and then have to try to drag that blob and blend it out. So I'm doing just layering it out, okay? I really wish the lighting was better, y'all. But it is what it is. Okay, so you can see better on this side how just applying that to the edge of my cheekbone, it already looks like I've got more cheekbone, okay? The other place that I personally applied the Crowned All Over, because my nose takes up such a majority of the length of my face, okay, I like to dab a little bit on the tip of my nose, just to give the illusion of a little bit of a shorter nose. And I also, because I'm 56 now, extra chin coming on, I like to dab a little bit under my chin, blend it, just to kind of create a shadow here where that goes away so it's not highlighted. Okay, and that is the extent, other than on occasion, I will take a very little bit and do this on the forehead, which again, I'm working on shortening my face, and it gives me that sunny, I've been in the sun kind of glow. Now, the Crowned All Over does have a shimmer to it, so if you prefer to contour with something that does not have a shimmer, I highly recommend getting a darker shade of the Mineral Powder Foundation and using that. That will work very, very well as a contouring agent. So go up 2 or 3 shades in darkness. Just play with it and see what works. Okay, so now I'm using Smashing for my blush. And I've got too much on my brush. And I just play with it in the lid and tap it inside the lid. I have a little travel cap here. So I put it on the edge of the lid, and then I just use up here where there's no product to tap, tap, tap and get rid of the excess so it kind of saves it. Some people blow on it and waste all their product. That's totally up to you, whatever works for you. I'm just a little more stingy with my product, and I prefer to save it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is find that apple of my cheek, and that's where I'm going to be applying. And again, I'm starting super light, so I don't get a big blob of color that I have to like spend extra time working out. And then I get into more of a blending pressure. Okay. So now I'm working this onto the top of the cheekbone, where I worked the contour on the bottom of the bone. I'm working this on the top of the bone. If there's anything I've learned in years and years of studying makeup application and being trained in makeup application, it is do what works for you. There are some very general guidelines, but for the most part, it's what's going to work for you to enhance your look the most, okay? I just want to have a little sun-kissed look. Now, if this was an evening that I was going out for the evening, I may do something a little more dramatic and something a little darker like Passionate. But this is going to be a daytime look. So, okay. So that is the blush. And on to the next step.